Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television, and first the headlines. His Excellency the Minister of Health stresses that the Sultanate has not entered the recovery stage of the virus and the epidemiological cases are increasing. His Excellency the Minister of Health affirms that the number of testing for coronavirus conducted in the Sultanate exceeded 40,000 tests, indicating that the testing laboratory is expanded in the Wilayah of Salalah. The Minister of Health announces the death of a 33-year-old female citizen and 495 cases recovered. And the Sultanate confirms the importance of dialogue between the Palestinian, Israeli and other parties concerned. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, affirmed that the number of testing for coronavirus COVID-19 conducted in the Sultanate exceeded 40,000 tests. He said that the testing laboratory was expanded today in the Wilayah of Salalah. He expressed his satisfactions about the commitment showed by the citizens and residents with regards to the decisions of the COVID-19 Supreme Committee. His Excellency the Minister of Health also said during a press conference of the COVID-19 Supreme Committee that the reopening of some commercial activities does not mean the Sultanate has entered the recovery stage of the virus, pointing out that the epidemiological cases are increasing. He stressed the importance of these establishments to adhere to health conditions and precautionary measures decided by the Supreme Committee. Failure to do so, the violating establishments will be closed. From his side, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser al-Harrasi, Chairman of the Public Authority for Radio and Television, said that the general situations with regards to COVID-19 is still dangerous. He added that the global studies viewed by the Supreme Committee indicated that the virus does not spare any age group as it badly affects all age groups. His Excellency Dr. Abdullah bin Nasser al-Harrasi, Chairman of Public Authority for Radio and Television, said that in the next stage, after the opening of some commercial and industrial activities, the Omani media will convey new messages to raise awareness about precautionary measures. He added that the degree of awareness among the citizens is high, as the people of Oman are aware about the dangers of COVID-19 pandemic. He further said that various media means must focus on the main fact that the crisis of COVID-19 is still not over despite the opening of some activities. He also said that all shall follow up the safety and precautionary measures, especially those who practice the commercial and economic activities that were opened recently. He stated that the Omani media, in cooperation with all government bodies, on top of which is the Ministry of Health, is always keen to deliver the fact as they arrive and calls on the public to avoid rumors and misinformation. His Excellency Engineer Isam bin Saud Al-Zidgali, Chairman of Muscat Municipality, stressed on the necessity for all, especially those using walkways and going to markets, to follow up the safety precautions and healthy practices, as well as social distancing. He added that according to the decisions of the Supreme Committee dealing with COVID-19 developments of opening some economic activities, more than 38 commercial activities were opened in general. He said that there are hopes for opening some other activities, but that won't happen unless there is an agreement among various government bodies, on top of which are the decisions of the Supreme Committee. He added that the markets are closed today, excluding Al-Mawalih market, which was also closed for 2 to 3 days previously for retail activities, so as to organize the movement, including entrances and exits of the market. He further said that retail activities started from yesterday in Al-Mawalih market and no crowding was detected. His Excellency Engineer Ali bin Mohammed Al Abri and the Secretary of the Ministry of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources said that there is full coordination between the ministry and number of bodies to organize the work and monitor the following of health standards in the institutions that were opened recently. He added that the number of standards were put up to ensure distancing among individuals and sanitations of all the equipment and devices that will be involved in the opened activities, in addition to continuous monitoring of such activities by the employees of the municipalities. He further said that in case of any violation is detected, proper procedures will be taken against them. Brigadier General Hassan bin Ali Al-Mijani, official spokesman of the Sultan's Armed Forces, stated that the military and security bodies are ready for close and governorate, if necessary, arises depending on the health reports and the committees tasked with evaluating the situation. The Minister of Health announced today the death of 33-year-old female citizens, which makes the total COVID-19 deaths in the Sultanate to 11. It also announced 74 new confirmed cases that brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 2,348. The Minister of Health also stressed that 495 cases have been recovered.
Non-compliance with the directives of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus COVID-19 exposes you to risk and legal action. Stay safe.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. The Sultanate, while chairing the virtual extraordinary meeting of the Arab League on a ministerial level, stressed the necessity to look for possible steps from Arab countries towards the risk of the Israeli government's plans to take in some Palestinian parts. It added that this act is being rejected by Arab countries and it goes against the international laws and legislations of peace and the two-state solution. The meeting, during which His Excellency Ahmed Abu Al-Ghait, Arab League Secretary General, took part, highlighted that all member countries call upon working to stop the Israeli government from implementing its settlements plans and calling on Israel to sit for discussions to solve the issue. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for foreign affairs, stated that Israel thinks as the region is facing the current circumstances can have control, but Arab and international community is against such act, adding that the Sultanate supports discussions and consultations between Israel and Palestine and other concerned parties. Private health establishments are exerting their efforts together with the public health institutions to beat coronavirus. I have visited a number of healthcare establishments and the last one this evening, and I made this report. Private healthcare establishments in their mission together with public healthcare institutions are playing a major role in national anti-COVID-19 drive throughout the Sultanate. They have taken action after the Minister of Health called upon private medical entities to join force against COVID-19. They started immediately after undergoing a number of workshops on the epidemiology of the disease COVID-19, the algorithm for suspected cases, as well as the Minister of Health policies and guidelines regarding infection control. In the Governorate of Muscat, there are about 800 private health sectors, which include private hospitals, polyclinics, GP clinics, dermatology clinic, company clinics, physiotherapy clinics, and Ayurveda, ENT, and ophthalmology clinics, which are being monitored by the Directorate of Private Health Establishment under the Directorate General of Private Health Services, Muscat Region.
We are here to audit one of our private health polyclinics in Muscat region. In Muscat region, we have around 800 private health establishments that are monitored by Ministry of Health. Each private health polyclinic or clinic has to have a special arrangement for the COVID-19 pandemic. In our audit, we use this checklist produced by Ministry of Health, CDC department. This checklist is for auditing the polyclinic regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. We make sure that the private health clinic follow each item in this checklist, and they follow the guidelines of MOH regarding COVID-19 pandemic and all the COVID-19 algorithm.
The country is proud of healthcare workers in both public and private healthcare institutions who have demonstrated dedication and courage, particularly at this time of pandemic fighting COVID-19. Within the efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19, the ministry advises all citizens and residents to keep on washing hands with water and soap. Avoid touching the face, nose, mouth and eyes. Follow hygienic habits when coughing and sneezing. Adhere strictly to social distancing instructions. Stay at home and not to go out unless absolutely necessary. Adhering to isolation and social distancing will prevent you, your family and the community from COVID-19. Stay safe. The wilayas of Matrah and Muscat are still under general lockdown with the precautionary measures taken by the COVID-19 Supreme Committee. The citizens and residents of the two wilayas are spending the days of isolation in full compliance with the procedures, where the tourism landmarks and streets appeared empty of the movement of people and vehicles. Here are some pictures. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Excellency Minister of Health stresses that the Sultanate has not entered the recovery stage of the virus and the epidemiological cases are increasing. His Excellency the Minister of Health affirms that the number of testing for coronavirus conducted in the Sultanate exceeded 40,000 tests, indicating that the testing laboratory is expanded in the Wilaya of Salalah. The Minister of Health announces the death of a 33-year-old female citizen and 495 cases recovered. And the Sultanate confirms the importance of dialogue between the Palestinian, Israeli and other parties concerned. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Thank you for joining us and good night.